Welcome to the Well Teachers Teach Well podcast, where we're not just building skills but also tending to our well-being and personal growth too. I'm Sumbula, also known as Sumbul, and I'm so glad you're here. In this episode, we are looking at 3 quotes that help in work and in life, especially after a hiatus. So let's get started. In the garden, I have lots and lots of fruit trees, and there are 2 apricot trees in particular that are practically bursting. They're ready, the apricots are full in colour, the shape is perfect, and I know it's time to pick them. I just haven't done it yet, but this week I started to do it, and the best way to get them down? You just have to give the tree a really good shake. So today I actually did exactly that. I went out and I gave the apricot trees a good shake. Apricots were everywhere, and in a way that moment kind of mirrors what I'm doing here now with this episode after a hiatus from the podcast. I've taken a pause that has been full of change, of reflection and grief. And I feel like I'm back here shaking my own tree, or rather the tree of well teachers, and seeing what comes out, what's ready, and what needs to be shared. And this episode is, in a sense, a gentle metaphorical shake after the passing of my father, and it's been a time of consolidation, of reimagining work, my direction, and life itself here in Pakistan. So in this return episode, I want to share 3 quotes that have really stayed with me lately. I've always found quotes helpful. I even at one time had a journal that I kept as a daily calendar journal, and I bought it because it had an inspirational quote at the bottom of every single day for each page. And I really find it helpful. So think of this as 3 quotes and reasons why each has been meaningful and what I read into them. So the 3 quotes are: have the courage of your talent, speak what you seek until you see what you saw, and the moral arc of the universe is long, but it bends towards justice. We'll begin with the first one. Have the courage of your talent. So this full quote I'll read out for you because I find it such a helpful quote in terms of thinking about work, and particularly the messy work of sales. So the full quote goes: have the courage of your talent, understand that you're good, understand why you're good, and move forward. Always have this attitude. You're not trying to sell something. You're trying to provide value. And this quote has really helped me reframe how I think about selling, especially when it comes to selling myself, my teaching, my courses, anything I've created with care. Selling can feel really, really uncomfortable, even kind of grubby, especially for teachers and for creatives who just want to show up and help. Early in my career, someone had told me that sales would be a really good job to start with, and I didn't love the idea at the time, but looking back now, I think they were right, and I'm glad I did a sales job early on as soon as I finished my academics, because it taught me many, many valuable skills. It taught me how to listen, how to communicate, and how to build trust. And I remind myself that I'm here to be of service, and that quote really gives me the reminder of that confidence, integrity, and courage. And I just think it's a really good one if you're feeling a little bit shaky about the work that you're doing. Even if you're a teacher listening and you're not involved in any direct sales, as a teacher, most of the skills to do with sales you're exercising regularly: the influence, the handling of different types of people. And if you're job hunting, you're effectively selling yourself until you find a job. I know that many listening to this are in the throes of seeking new employment, looking for work, maybe uncomfortable or knowing that they need to change their current role. And this is a really, really good quote to come back to if you find yourself in such a situation. And I forgot to mention, this quote is by Alan Weiss. So, the second one: speak what you seek until you see what you saw. This second quote, I found it very catchy, very simple, but powerful. And it reminds me to name what I want out loud, on paper, in my mind, just over and over again. And there was a time when I was working in a corporate setting and I was dealing with a frustrating issue and it just would not resolve. And if you've worked in corporate for any number of years, you'll know that there are things like this that go on and on and on. And every time I walked into a meeting about it, I remember this quote going around in my head, and I kept repeating in the meetings what I wanted to see. And I kept saying the same thing. So I kept saying, I just want to see this and this. And it eventually worked. So the situation did have a resolution that I had asked for. And it wasn't overnight, but slowly it did come through. So this quote, I find it really helps me with persistence, especially when I'm feeling stuck. And it's about aligning my words, my energy, my focus, and trusting that the thing that I'm focusing on will eventually meet my reality if I continue to speak what I seek until I see what I saw. So the third one is, the moral arc is long but bends towards justice. And this third quote is obviously by Martin Luther King Jr. and it means a lot to me. It's so easy to feel helpless when faced with ongoing injustice, especially violence or systems that just seem unmovable. This quote reminds me of the bigger picture, and it reminds me that we are part of something longer and larger than just this moment. And that doing the right thing, even when it's hard or maybe ineffective, it still matters. So this quote has also really helped me in my personal journey, in my grief actually, to trust that this pain has a transformation that can happen from it, and healing and justice in their own time, they do arrive. And so I find it a very helpful quote to remember when I'm feeling really frustrated that nothing I have done seems to have had any impact and things just keep getting worse. It really brings me back to the bigger arc and reminds me that in the end it bends towards justice than any other way. So those are the three quotes that have been on my mind, and they kind of came out when I gave myself a good shake to get this podcast rebooted. The three quotes are: have the courage of your talent by Alan Weiss, speak what you seek until you see what you saw, and the moral arc is long but it bends towards justice. And each of these has helped me in different moments, in different ways, to stay steady and stay hopeful. So thanks for listening and for being here as I give this tree a good shake, and let's see what fruit falls next. Onward now to share a few updates from the land of well teachers and beyond. So the first major update is that the Mandarin Hobby Course is kicking off in the first week of July. It is a course that runs across 7 sessions through the summer. The whole underpinning elements of the course I've designed is focused on creativity, literacy, and joy, and you are almost guaranteed to leave it knowing how to write Chinese characters and read them, which is a very, very cool skill to have. You can find all the details at wellteachers.org/Mandarin. The second update is about the Well, which is our international private teacher membership, and a quiet but steady revamp has gone on, and we're taking the long arc approach again, slowly, intentionally. We've switched to an annual member fee, and we're hosting a wrapper and a workshop, 2 staple gatherings each month, small, meaningful, and designed to help with both personal and professional development. We're moving forward with a thoughtful, formidable group of educators from around the world. So if you're looking for a space to grow and connect, to be seen and to be heard, we'd love to welcome you in there. And you can visit wellteachers.org/thewell for more information on that. Thirdly, a personal note from me on Chitral. So you may have sensed that I took a break from producing new episodes and even from writing in general and posting and sharing online. I've been navigating a period of grief after the passing of my father, and grief is awful. It changes the shape of time and space, and if you're going through it too, I really feel for you. It's not easy at all. So in between all of that, life with Jack the goat recently has been keeping me entertained, and he's a gentle, curious character and far more persistent than I ever expected. Now I know why goats have a reputation for being stubborn, and you may see the occasional snippet of him on my socials. And recently I also tried life with a puppy, a Springer Spaniel to be exact, exceptionally feisty, but he would pick a fight with Jack at every opportunity. It was pretty difficult to keep the two apart. And as it turns out, yes, even Jack the goat has limits. Luckily, Chitrali families are very fond of spaniels because lots of Chitralis are into hunting. So our pup has a new home where he's being trained as a gun dog, which is exactly what his breed is meant for. So I hope he'll be really happy there. And finally, a note on occupation. And right now we are witnessing multiple genocides, ongoing violence against civilians, and it's deeply distressing. It's difficult to comprehend. I suppose just by saying and speaking and writing about it, I feel like it should be not normal to not say something. So I just want to say clearly, in the spirit of my second quote, speak what you seek until you see what you said. I want the occupation to end. I will continue to speak this and say it to myself, to you, to everyone until we see it. If you want to join in with discussion, I usually post this to the Well Teachers page on LinkedIn and sometimes on Instagram as well. Or you can send me an email at sumbella@wellteachers.org. That's it for this episode. I really hope that you enjoyed this, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye!